or if you're new to this discussion, but we've had it.
Many times, I'm sure. And
And my feeling has always been that it's really not the town's role to put money into this society. Felt that, but the board felt that we should contribute. This year specifically, we're having a tough time with the budget. It's a very high increase, so we're looking to cut where we can.
sure.
So I'm still of the position that, I don't support the increase, so it's open to discussion.
Well, if I may, Jerry, I'm here to try to help change your mind.
Yeah.
First, I'd like to,
If you can come up to the podium.
okay.
Yeah, just the
Sure.
mic after Julia's comment about
Sure.
people on Zoom. And Perfect.
Sorry, forgot we're on Zoom. Do I need to wait for any?
No,
you're good.
Julie Lane is on.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then it's also being recorded. You'll be on channel 22.
Oh, great.
What page are we
So I
on?
introduce myself.
20.
Mary Fran Gleason, I'm president of the Shelter Island Historical Society. I'm accompanied by board members, Marty Levenstein, Jeff Feingold, Chris Carey. Other board members wanted to be here, but couldn't be for obvious reasons, including it. Also, our executive director is unable to attend today. We are here to make our earnest appeal to have the board retain the $15,000, what we consider, I would say is an investment. It has been said to me that it's an annual payment that was based on an agreement made several years back when a very astute town official saved about 1,000 town maps from being dumped at the recycling center. So the maps were rescued and brought to us with the understanding that we would clean them, preserve them, store them, and catalog them so that they could be accessible to anyone who came to the society. That work has been ongoing, preserving documents and recording them, cataloging them, et cetera, is very tedious. But another part of that agreement, as I understand it, was that we would continue to do that on behalf of the town by taking documents that can no longer be stored here for whatever reason, bringing them into our vault, cleaning them, storing, preserving, et cetera, for all eternity. I also wanted to say that the $15,000 is really an investment on the town's part to make sure that the history and character of this community is saved. We all know that the island is in transition. There's a lot of new people coming in, certainly since COVID. We've seen a great many new residents come, many of whom don't really have an understanding of what the island is all about. Prime example, anybody who has lived on the island for any length of period of time cringes every time they hear the word shelter as it applies to this home, right? We all know, oh, never call it shelter. Then we instantly know they are newbies and they are not, right? Not to say that that is a very bad thing, but what it says to me is that the narrative is changing. There are people who are calling Shelter Island home for creating their own narrative about the place, which may or may not be in sync with our own narrative, but the narrative that is based on the history of this island, its culture, its people. So I think it's very important that the Historical Society play a very important role in making sure that all people who come and live and enjoy the island know what we're all about, where we came from, what our history is, and it helps inform the future. And to that point, the town's own comprehensive plan has a very important role for the Historical Society included in it, and references us many times, including one specific area which calls us a partner, and that is with preserving historic documents. And that also states that it is an essential function of a municipality to ensure historic documents are preserved. So in that case, it is not a donation to us. Sorry. It is, I sorry, deep breaths. It is an investment in the history and the people of this island to continue to offer that to us so we can do the work. It is not a cheap endeavor. Maintaining these records is very meticulous. We have climate controls, we have software, et cetera, et cetera. And people come every week to make inquiries, to research those very documents that we are protecting and preserving on behalf of the town. So that is not just a gift. It is really an investment. I think that is very much the role of this town board. With that, I have a letter that I've addressed to Jerry and to the town board that kind of outlines what I've just said. If I give it, and then
Thank you.
and open, and if any of my colleagues would like to rescue me from the podium, I'd appreciate it.
I have a quick question. I don't think I was aware that you cataloged the maps. That's
Oh, yeah.
great. That's,
It's
you know,
huge.
just to know that we could go even see if there is XYZ. But do you have documents there? Or is that on, oh, yeah, beside the maps, I mean,
We
yeah?
have over 100,000 documents in our archive collection.
That are from that the town,
There's some from the town, there are town documents, other town maps, historic maps, census, town census. We have records from the fire departments, we have records, I mean, it's in the letter I listed.
Silver Beach Association, I know when I was researching Silver Beach, I went down there and they laid a little of it out.
yeah.
I had stuff from the back in the 1930s and 40s when the Silver Beach Association was first formulated, that they had on file there.
And
It was
a lot-
very helpful.
It is, and a lot of residents, lawyers, real estate surveyors come to the archives because they want to research a right of way. They want to research where town landings were. They want to find survey maps. I mean, it is a real resource for so many people. People come to us because they want to know the history of the house that they just bought.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of that. We've created a house registry, so hopefully in the future, we could have every house recorded, owners and et cetera, so that we can have those records to help people renovate, you know, whatever. But the comprehensive plan, I mean, I just highlighted this morning, the areas that very specifically talk about the Historical Society being responsible for or a partner in. And that's what I mean, it's an investment in this whole community. And I think it's important for the town to be able to say, we invest in our history by investing in the Historical Society. So, I mean, to that end, and it really astounds me sometimes when we see people come to the farmer's market and all, how much they don't know, and every time you tell them a little thing, it's like, oh my God, you know, it opens a revelation and a new appreciation for the island that maybe they didn't have before. So, especially as there's change in the wind, there's developments, there's new houses being built, the worst thing we can do is let our history fall to the wayside and be kind of pushed as not important. I just think that would be a huge mistake, so.
So during my 8 years here, and my 8th and final year, this is the third pitch that I'm hearing from the Historical Society. The same thing. It was almost a blueprint of the first two, where the supervisor sat with the current town board at that time and was questioning this $15,000. Each point now represents $145,000 on a budget. So that's 1 point. So in other words, $15,000, very close to 1/10 of 1 point is what we're talking about. It's 1/10 of 1% of the budget. This is a pretty important task. To justify the expenditure in my own head, and I've said this and echoed this, I can't speak for when Dottie was charged, you know, in the town clerk's office and the kind of exchange that was going on between her wanting to share information with the Historical Society. You now have a new person in Amber that's there. One thing that I would value more than anything is a greater sense of coordination between the town clerk's office and other offices, building department as well, but that particularly here with you guys. So that the initiative that maybe twice a year that you meet, every 6 months, what do you have new? What were you looking to get rid of? Is this worthwhile to keep? Is it better kept here? Is it better kept down there? Is it a duplicate? All kinds of questions that, again, I don't think it needs to be done once a month. I don't think it needs to be done quarterly. Maybe it's done annually or maybe biannually. But it's built into the schedule where we can then turn to the taxpayer and say, yeah, we do spend $15,000. We have all this stuff that's already been cataloged and present here. You can see it. But we're adding to that on a regular basis, coordinating that effort with you guys. And actually, it helps you because you're staying current. and there's stuff that we probably have that you don't have that's still locked up that was never shared. It would be a great exchange. That's my feeling on it. And it's a great justification, not that this isn't, because I think I could take your notes right here and I could compare them to 3 years ago and 6 years ago. And I didn't have to be convinced.
Right.
And history is important,
Right.
extremely important. So I'm in your corner,
Thank you.
but I would like to see a better dialogue, an ongoing communication, scheduled once or twice a year between various offices that could utilize this service.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We welcome it. And honestly, that was initially part of the agreement, that would be an ongoing thing. It hadn't happened probably for various reasons. COVID had something to do with that. I also
Sure.
think a lot of the other part was when we moved into the new building, all of our items were in storage. We had to get them out. We had to recatalog them. But now we have an incredible vault. If you haven't been there, I'd love for you to come and see it.
No,
It is
I've been there.
very cool. We have the space to accommodate documents, and we should. And I welcome that opportunity to create a synergy with the town clerk's office or anyone else to be able to say, let's meet annually and decide what should come into the vault, what needs to be preserved, what maybe we already have that you don't need to keep records of anymore. So, and we
One of the
have
most-
new archivists now, so.
One of the most dangerous things you can have, and we had it in a school district where somebody, when these kind of important records that go back 50, 60, 70 years of your school district are not kept, somebody goes in there and says, let's clean this room out. Somebody arbitrarily goes in there and says, they don't look really through all those boxes. They start taking very important documents and we fill up a truck and send it to the incinerator and it's gone. Years later, people are looking for that.
I know.
Who did it?
What a
Who was
shame.
qualified to sit here and make a judgment on what stayed and what went? So, having it, and the other thing is about where we store it versus where you can store it, where paper is paper and maps are maps. You're looking for longevity. You're not looking for keeping something 10 years. You're looking to keep it for centuries.
Correct.
So you have to have everything in a vault that's got temperature control and humidity control and everything else that maximizes the length. And when that starts to deteriorate, then obviously that has to be reproduced again. And when it was done from the original and kept on file. So it's pretty important process in my mind.
And I tell you, just an example of what we almost lost. I mean, we have a photo exhibit all this season of Dr. Pettit's camp. That was the 1920s camp, which was at the Peconic, was the camp, then it was Peconic Lodge, and now it's the Perlman Center. Those photographs we were given that were found at the recycling center at the dump that somebody was tossing. And they rescued them and brought them to us. And so we were able to put them on exhibit. I mean, things that we had an opening preview and some man came in and called me over and looked at it and went to this picture and said, that's my mother. I mean, it was like a aha moment that was just, I've never lost that, to be able to have someone be touched so much that photograph was there and rescued from the dump. And that's the first thing I tell people when they come in, is that these photographs were fished out of the dump. So it would be a shame not to make the real efforts to save the documents that are worth saving. But you have to go through them, you have to look at them. And even the preservation part of cleaning a document is very meticulous and tedious. And even the materials that you store them in are not like your cardboard box that you have in a closet. And those have a lifespan too. They only last 10 or 15 years and then you've got to do it all over again. Because, paper wears out or the plastic material. So it's a constant effort on our part. We have some fascinating documents from the founding of this town, dating back to Thomas Deering and Sylvester Manor. And I think the oldest document is from 16 something, where there's some Declaration of Independence of Shelter Island from the rest of the English colonies, from England. So there's some really interesting stuff there. I also wanted to say is to keep in mind, especially with the comprehensive plan, that in 3 years' time, this country will be celebrating its 250th anniversary. Shelter Island had a pivotal role to play in the American Revolution. We have that history. So we want to make sure that we partner with the town to be able to tell the town's story of the role we played in the American Revolution.
Well, Also in the comprehensive plan is a urging of the town to reestablish the Historical Advisory Committee. So one way to make sure that, that there is future and continuing communication between the town and the Historical Society is to have one board member, any hands, overlap on that committee when it's reappointed, redone. Not sure that we'll get to it before our term is up, but that would be a way to keep the conversation going,
Absolutely.
you know?
There is just so much interesting history. We took friends on a boat ride yesterday, came in and never been here before. We went by the lawns with the Weber and the Becker estates. And then we look at this bunker-like house in the middle. And she's looking at it, she goes, how did that house get there? And I don't even know who owns it. But she brought up about a historic commission, that if you had those zones in place, that house would never have been built there. You know?
Yes.
So you think about the character of the island and how you can preserve it to make sure that things make sense where they are. So anyway, we had a nice, great discussion about that last night, but it is fascinating, fascinating work. And I will tell you, since I came onto the board of the Historical Society, I never stopped having those, oh my God moments, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, Peter Pan was conceptualized from Westmoreland Farm.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, who knew that, right? Things like that. So it's history that I think, that I hope the town wants to become a active participant in, and keeping that money in the budget is one way you can do that.
Thanks, Murphy.
Anybody want to say? Sure. You want, Chris, do you mind? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity. I don't want to be too long. Beautiful Indian summer day out there. I'm new to the board, and I think Mary Fran did a very good job in presenting the case for the society. Sometimes the label may confuse the purpose or the integrity or the meaningful mission of a group. The Historical Society, some may think of that as a bunch of people sitting around discussing the folklore and the geography and families of the island. But the society has a board that oversees a staff of the History Center. And that's where the money goes. And we've talked and you've explained about the value of the archives and the records. And it's a cultural center, all on 114 in a very important location. And that's why the town should consider continuing funding. I'm not here to ask for more. If I were not new to the board, I'd be asking for more, but I'm just here to support continuing what's been a tradition to fund that and just address the comprehensive plan, which does almost mandate that the History Center work with the town on preserving its archives. I don't know that another route needs to be reintroduced, but certainly, BJ, having a liaison to the board, and we just had a retreat with the new board about revitalizing the efforts and repositioning the History Center to appeal not only to so many new residents of the island, but to rekindle what the history of the island means to the people that are long-term people or lifetime residents of Shelter Island. So again, it's the funding is for the Historical Society, which oversees the History Center, which is a cultural institute, as the library is, and other facilities in the town. So I think that should be the focus of where the request to continue comes from, or is looked at. Okay.
Thank you.
And if anyone would like to come in and have a private tour, very welcome to giving that to you if you haven't been inside it, especially for the new town board members. others, newer ones. But really welcome that.
I think it would be important for ambulance.
Yeah, I would like to see how we can.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes, it should meet the archivist.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And see our computer data system where we record, I mean, it's very tedious. You're talking about records that were kept on index cards and little boxes, and now we're taking those and putting them,
Oh, I know.
it's a lot of work. Yes, I'm sure you do, I'm sure you do. And then to be able to put your fingers on something very quickly when someone comes in and says, oh, do you have this?
Yes, it does matter.
It does matter a lot, so we appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Great,
Okay.
thank
Very
you.
much. Thanks for coming.
I'm going out like this.
We dismiss.
We just-
Go enjoy that nice, summer day.
Yeah. Just need a little breeze, might sail this afternoon.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Did that yesterday. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, appreciate it, thank you. And we'll be talking.
Yes, I'll reach out, thank you.
So next on the list, we're just going to go over the capital plan.
Yeah.
So I went to yesterday.
Christina put it on the website.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw it on the
Yeah.
website.
Good.
We have a page.
And it kind of, well, it sort of references a handout. Page 52.
Yeah, it's, for you to put in your book.
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry.
Let me go get mine. You have extra?
I have extra.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Yeah, I don't. Yes.
52%.
Share screen.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
More than the one page online, just to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 pages.
I just added
Third one,
the budget page as a last page, just so people could see.
yeah.
I should say that.
Keeps it straight. I can refer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for how confusing it can look at first.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a dish? It's an extra. I see what you did.
Okay. When we look at CY, is that 2023?
Yes, that's
Yes.
current year.
During the online one.
Yes, I didn't realize you put it in a separate.
Oh, there it is. It's Christina put it,
Here on the.
oh. She put it under like agenda and,
Oh, and tab H, all right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
rename my, can let me rename this?
Yeah, a lot of the things are in tab H.
Okay.
So what we did is, Capital Grants and Planning Committee, had everyone, every department submit anything that they thought was a bigger need that we needed to carefully look at going forward. And so, let's make sure. Okay, so just starting at the top, handicap accessibility, that's the ADA project that's, we've been working on with an architect. And so in the current year, $50,000 was allocated towards it. Anticipating in 2 years is when we'd actually be able to get the project started, because we'll want to seek grant money for, and 500,000, we don't know if that's going to be a good number. That's one of the things that the architect is working on, is getting the costing estimates done.
Yeah, so basically for 2023, we've isolated in on police headquarters. On 2024, we're isolating in on Justice Hall. And then
the
by
design
20,
work.
yes, for the design, strictly for the design work, yes. And then cost analysis and all that kind of stuff. So that trying to get it shovel ready by 2025, which is seeking additional funding. I don't think it suggests that we're looking for $500,000 necessarily just out of budget, but or are we?
No, we'd be looking for grant money.
We'd be seeking, yes, additional outside funding.
Yes, definitely. And then the Suffolk County Radio Project, that's an ongoing need. Every year we've been trying, this year, next year, putting away 40,000 to get our
So Amber,
radios.
on the other sheet, on the budget sheet, you have, what the appropriations are. These all appropriations?
This is just this is just the plan.
Okay.
This is just,
Okay.
from here, that's where we pulled on the
Okay.
next page as to
Okay.
what we're
Okay.
going to actually try and fund in 2024.
Okay.
So, and some of these, we're able to start,
Yep.
taking them off the list.
Okay.
So the TASER purchase, that's something that's coming down the road, maybe $100, goes up a little bit each year. So that's a future thing. Patrol vessel, we're gonna need to replace our police boat at some point. We got the current one from the county, but we don't know if we'll be able to get another one. So in a couple of years, that could be a $375,000 to $400,000 expenditure. And we just need to
Be aware of it.
be aware of it, so
Yeah.
as we're looking forward. Again, we will try and seek grants or county support, again. The Justice Court, handicap accessibility, that's, hand in hand, police, that work, the architectural design work and costing is being done this year. Next year, we'll get Justice Court done. That one's going to be a more expensive fix, so we just threw an estimate out there for $750,000. The hope is that if we'll keep moving forward on both of these, but if we can't get enough grant money to cover things, then we may have to look towards bonding. And so if we're gonna do that, we might wanna try and do those projects together so that we only do bonding once. We might get some economies of scale in two buildings being renovated at the same time.
Or we may modify or scale back slightly, the plan.
Yeah. The air burner, that is in this year's budget, we got some preliminary work that's gotta be done before we actually can do the purchase, construction. Brian can speak to that more. That's not in this year's budget, just the 10,000 is what we pulled, because he thinks that he can find 10,000 out of current monies to start doing what he needs to do there. Road raising, two roads that need work is Ram Island Causeway and West Neck. Both of those projects would be future projects. We have 50,000 in the budget to do the preliminary work and design for Ram Island, and then we'll go from there. And just
Yep.
see if I have any,
Yeah, it's not the whole road on West Neck, it's just those areas that flood. Those low-lying areas.
Hard by Hilo.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was decided that Ram Island was, my notes say it's a priority. The walking floor trailer is also something that's down the road. It's not in this year's budget, but I spoke to Kenny this morning just to refresh myself on what that was about. And he says they put some repairs into it this year, but if they do any more repairs, the repairs will cost more than the trailer is going to be worth. So they're gonna run it out to the walking floor trailer.
What does it do? Which one is that?
The floor.
It's the one that they use for taking construction debris off the island.
It's that long elongated truck, yeah. Very long.
Makes sense.
The facilities master plan is something that I've been talking about for a couple of years. And I think with, the look at the wastewater, municipal wastewater, if we're gonna do something with IA systems, we need to figure out how we're using our buildings.
Absolutely.
A little bit hand in hand with the ADA work being done. That still needs to be done, but we need to look at how everybody's housed. Right now, we have a clerk who's, practically sitting in the fireplace, just to try and find room. And I think it needs to be a little bit of a grander scale, looking at the whole 114 corridor, how we want things to be laid out, plans like that. So we did have one preliminary meeting with an engineering consulting firm, just to get a sense of possibly cost. We need to circle back with them. It's not a full-blown proposal, but they did send out a planner, somebody who works with septic, an architect, and
An engineer.
I guess an engineer. Yeah, so they did send out 4 people to talk with us. it's a larger firm who've done these types of things before. I put in, and my guesstimate was 125,000. That's actually a number that I've had in my back pocket for a couple of years based upon when I was doing some research, like other municipalities. One place was up in Maine, SUNY Brockport did a facilities master plan, just trying to get a sense of how much that would cost. So we currently have put of that 60,000 in just to get us started in 2024. But we need to discuss that further. And if we can, we don't think that there's any grant monies out there, but we'll continue those discussions.
Just a comment on here in terms of that very important plan to be developed. Is there any possibility when we're working with this and developing and looking to hire somebody that Joe's role might be expanded somehow to cover some of this? You know, that he does have a lot of talent, a lot of talent in a lot of these areas. Obviously, he's not a real planner, but I do think that, again, with the salary he's making and that he could contribute, and we might be able to get somebody to work side by side with Joe to be able to make this a little bit more feasible, I don't think you do not need a planner, by the way, don't misread me, because I definitely think you need a planner that specializes in this. But I do think, I'm always impressed with the knowledge that Joe has on these topics, and maximizing his role would be important to me.
Oh, when listing who project managers were, point people on these, I put myself down just to run point on it, but Joe Fenora and Brian Sherman is listed at the moment, but the
Yes,
Commissioner of Public Works both need to be very involved in this.
yep.
Next one is the website, which we have, we're getting it covered in 2023, so that one is happening. Kelly from Seniors said that one of the cars will need to be replaced, not immediately, but in a couple of years. So she just wanted to get that out there. So as we go through and look at the, how we pass down our cars, whether or not, how the whole fleet is being managed.
Yeah.
And that is something that I'd like to work with Brian or Kenny about, just better monitoring and tracking our fleet. I know that they've got something because they repair all the vehicles in the fleet, but really just in one place, like when was it purchased, who's used it, where's it, where's the mileage, what's the condition? Because it seems like we've got a lot of cars out there and we just need to track them all better.
I agree with you 100%.
We'll report
Yeah,
at budget time.
yes, absolutely important, critical.
Tax receiver knows that in the next 5 years, she wants to do a software upgrade. So she figures that's gonna be $4,200. So she put in, her request was to set aside $840 a year towards that. It's a small enough budget item that I think we can just take the hit in 1 year when she needs to pull the trigger on that. Judith, assessors put in a cabinet, I think that's already off the list, and that's actually not a big dollar amount, but we tracked it on the sheet anyways. And then the car also for the assessors, they are sharing with the building department. So we were able to utilize a grant to get 2 electric cars. So they're out there for signing out and sharing. So that was the overall request that came in. Since we've done this, I know Kenny's talked about the sweeper, he's seeing some variation in, its ability to continue on for very long, so.
And no air conditioning.
Right, yes. So it's out there as a known, but it's not yet to our.
Well, I think this is gonna be a living document as I see it, because the grinder is now, whatever it is, 7 years old, and when I asked on projection on the grinder, it's still in pretty good shape, because we have a handler that meticulously cares for it on a daily basis, but that may not always be the case. And I said, what's the life expectancy for that grinder? He said, well, it's, Jim, do you keep this stuff, do you drive it into the ground and get a new one? Or do you wait, 10, 11 years, which is only 3-4 years away for that grinder, and get some money back from it, a decent amount of money, to go purchase a new grinder. You know, we did that with the truck fleet, remember? So, you know, Jay was able to take some of our trucks, got good dollars for them. I think it was 26,000, if my memory serves me correct. The new trucks were considerably more than that, but we got something for them. There's a part, and that's why that inventory that you just mentioned is so important, because there's a part when the vehicle just breaks down totally, it's not worth anything. It really is, it has no trade-in value whatsoever. So that's something that we have to monitor on a, on a more responsible basis and to maximize, the dollars.
So what ended up getting moved forward then, as I noted, is just summarized on this second page here. So the air burner, PD radios, the EMS radios and the EMS stretcher weren't on the prior list because those were requests that had come in the prior year. So we knew that we needed to roll those forward before we added anything new. And if you look at the budget page itself, you can see, let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Better. You'll see what was approved in 2022 and what we have approved in 2023. And I have little codes like the ADA compliance, 50,000 is coming from grant money, and then 25,000 in the 2024 budget is coming from appropriations. So that's what the coding is. And then
Where do we stay with that carport? Has that been down at the the senior center?
I think it's on his to-do list.
Yeah, I think Brian and Kelly have been chatting about it, trying to figure out a plan.
Okay, there's a lot of things on the to-do list. I look at the Silver Beach bulkhead, for $50,000.
yes.
Jay repaired that about 8-9 years ago when it took a whack. And actually this earth was coming out underneath the bulkhead and they reinforced that. I don't know what the current status is, but some of the stuff, like when we're looking to, if we need to bring down the budget a point or something, or 1.5, that I would go back out to Silver Beach with, with Brian or somebody, take a look at this thing and see, we'll see what the status is. I'm not looking to, if it's in bad shape, it's in bad shape, it needs to be replaced immediately. But again, we're gonna have to get this money from somewhere.
Well, that is in the Silver Beach bulkhead is in 2023's project. So it's already approved in our current year budget. So we're not doing anything in 2024. And I thought that,
I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
And talking about rolling money over that.
okay, you'd say put it back
yeah.
in fund balance and.
Well, depends on that. Again, that could be in terrible shape.
Yeah, right.
It could be in terrible shape. I'm not looking to do that, but when it comes time to looking for this money, these ticket items are big. The 50,000 here, the 70,000 there, it all adds up to a point there.
Yeah, and the EMS, the garage expansion, they're starting to move forward on that. And from the ambulance side, Mark Carnivocal is the leading point on that and working with Brian. So that
That's
is.
a given, that has to be done.
And then Shelby, do you know why the 30,000 for the power lift stretcher was crossed off?
Because they got it.
Oh, okay, so it's just.
Yeah.
Taken care of, got it. Okay, all right. But that's the budget, the capital budget in a nutshell.
Okay.
I assume most of these things fit under the description of capital improvements, if they're considered a capital investment rather than equipment or things like that.
Yeah.
What about the website? How does software fit into that?
It was just because it was a bigger expenditure. So anytime we're dealing with a bigger expenditure, it's like, we just want to be focused on it and take a look at it. So it's not quite capital, but it was planning for.
Thank you.
I think that was it for today, just.
Yeah, but it's a good document, it's a useful document. It will change as time goes on, and be altered slightly, things will be moved up and pushed back and. But it's a good workable document. We've been looking to do this in the capital planning for years, and we finally have a document that we can work off of, which is,
Yeah, and it's a start. I mean, it's not a full-blown capital plan. Joe and Brian have been working on a much more detailed look at all of the assets and getting them.
no, your
With schedules and
recommendation
things.
about the fleet is so important. I mean, I don't know what do we own? 3 dozen vehicles or 4 dozen vehicles, when you add up all the police cars and all the, and everything at this recycling center and the highway department, and it's a lot of vehicles. It's a lot to keep tabs on, you know, on their yearboard, condition that they're in, maintenance already put into it. Somebody needs to be on top of that. It's not-
Judy does.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's part of, they asked for that in the yearly audit, is like all of our capital, equipment, the vehicles, and Judy handles that.
yeah.
Yeah.
The ADA compliance on the budget sheet, you know, third sheet down, 50,000 this year grant, that was the block grant, community development.
Yes,
Block
one,
Can we expect that again?
Oh, with block grant, we
We
can
did
expect to
50.
bump up.
yeah, the 50,000, the first 50,000, it's been flipped as to what, which one community development block is going to fund.
Okay.
Originally, we had put money in the budget, 50,000 for police, the police department building. And then we were looking for the community development block money for justice court. PD gets a lot more usage than justice court, so they said, hey, you know, like, you've got this going on. We submitted a piece of paper and they became aware of the PD one. It was like, oh, okay, well, if you'll fund that one, then we'll take the other money and fund justice
We
court.
weren't asking enough either.
And we wanna
BJ.
up what we
So-
ask.
so- so
Right.
we were asking for 15, 20,000, well, we should have been asking for 50, 60,000. And other East End towns had asked for 500,000, you know, with the community block grant. So, you know, it's something that you don't get it unless you ask for it.
Right,
What's
so,
the-
so are we gonna, I guess, I think didn't understand, so are we gonna ask for it in 24? Because it says an A next to 24's ADA.
We're hoping that we'll get it this year. So we'll take the money that we have for 50,000 for the one ADA project.
Right.
And then get the other one funded.
Okay,
50,000 plus we need another 25,000 because justice court is more complicated.
right,
And then when we get to
Then
be shovel ready,
Our next ask is going to be a big ask.
you're right,
Like,
correct.
we have plans, we have costs.
To
Will
execute
you,
the plan.
Instead of giving us 50,000, will you
Right.
give us 200,000
Right.
or whatever drives the project?
okay.
So
But can you, I'm sorry, I really am struggling with this. It's just, so that line then, why is it an A? You know, that's just,
oh, because you're looking at 2023.
no, I'm looking at 2024.
Oh,
Shouldn't it be, or, no, I don't,
okay, all right, yes, Larsa, look at the 2023.
it says G,
So
right?
that's the G, so that's the grant one.
Right.
So that one is, you know, either police or justice court.
Yeah.
And then if you, the 50,000 the year before was appropriated. So in
Right.
2022, we just rolled that money over to 2023 so that we can pay for it. So we
Right,
encumber the money. So we already had it.
okay,
And then the 25,000 is an A because 50,000, we just recently upped
right,
what it was going to cost us to do the design work.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's too late to go back and change that 50 to
So
75.
75, right, okay, now I get it.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, it's an A too. Darn.
No, it's been a little confusing because we've been going back and forth with the county on this. All right, so anything else? So not tomorrow.
Friday.
Friday, Friday, we start the hard work.
We can start at 11.
Start at 11? Okay.
Friday?
We have our ADP department head meeting at 9, and we anticipate that that could go to 10:30. So we want to make sure we leave enough time.
You wanna do 11?
We can do 11.
Yeah, I'm good with 11.
Yeah, 11's fine.
Yeah, I have the health on my list, but I won't be at it. Be there.
Okay, I guess I should email Susan/Noah, say, we'll skip it unless you want to reschedule it?
Yeah, let's skip it.
Oh, you mean, because you're usually here
At
at
10.
10? Oh,
Yeah.
But we don't really need to meet
Yeah.
with them this week.
Nothing new with that.
Because next week, we're gonna have our first CPAC meeting, working on the summary of the board, so it's a
Yeah.
good week to skip it.
or you could upstairs.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I think we can probably skip that meeting.
Just get that.
Let them work. And Noah's out of town anyway.
Yeah.
So Friday, what's the goals for Friday here?
To button this up.
Yeah, to make the hard decisions.
Okay, okay.
So
So we're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, bring your calculator and your
Friday is
scissors, we're
gonna
gonna
be
cut
a-
this.
Oh, yeah, bring snacks.
Yeah. We'll get pizza, that's exactly right. Okay. We should have the,
We'll just stress eat through this process.
So we'll adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Second,
I.
I